what do you make of the SEC championship game? Because there was a time, you and I worked together at this time, and I said that the SEC championship was almost the same thing to me as a national championship, because you had to get lucky to get in the top 2 teams back then. I can't say that anymore, and it breaks my heart because I love the SEC. But Jimmy, you are better off if you don't play in it, aren't you?
In this year, in this situation, I would say probably. Okay, and the reason I say probably is we don't know for sure if the committee is going to look at Texas A&M, which we brought up earlier, or somebody else that loses and has 3 losses. Are they going to be knocked out of the playoff? If they are, then yes, you're better off with 2 losses not to be playing in the SEC title game. If you are protected, which was kind of hinted at by Ward Manuel, then it's okay. So it doesn't hurt you. So we don't know for sure if it's going to hurt you, right? The speculation is it could hurt you if you lose a 3rd game. And I actually think that it will. But if it doesn't, then our argument about, oh, you don't want to play in it is moot, right? If you get in it anyway.
I feel like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, Caleb.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're trying to tell you that the SEC championship game and the conference championship games matter, when in fact they really don't.
No, they don't. And look, there's
it can matter for seeding.
Yes,
but there's 2 flaws in this. One, because of how big the conference is in, and I'm going to play the clip for Lane Kiffin real quick because I got it up now, but I just want to point this out to get your guys' thoughts.
Thanks, Elon.
Because of the imbalance of schedules with these gigantic mega conferences and no divisions, you've almost guaranteed that you're not going to get the 2 best teams playing for a conference title in any conference at this point. So at that point, the conference championship is almost, it's almost like a laughable gimmick, because you're going to be watching these games, Jimmy and Dave, and what do y'all think of the fact that at least half the time you're going to be like, these aren't the 2 best teams in the conference? Honestly, they just happen to get the luck of the draw with the schedule in the schedule of balance.
But we don't know it won't be the 2 best.
But I'm saying there's a good chance it won't.
Yeah, there's a chance it won't be. So who are the 2 best teams in the SEC right now?
Talent-wise, I would have gone Texas and Georgia, and they already played. But, what if Texas A&M beats Texas, which they really could do, guys?
Yeah,
it's at Texas A&M. They'll have the best record in the SEC regular season.
Yeah,
Texas A&M's not a top 4 team in the SEC, guys. They're just not.
But I don't have a problem, Jimmy, as much with not getting the 2 top teams in the SEC championship game, because I think that happened a lot with the division split. I think there were a lot of times that the West team was not as good as the East, or vice versa.
There were 3 times Arkansas got in, and I think at least twice they had 3 losses in conference play. So yes. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and didn't LSU they were on the verge with 3, right?
In
2001.
Yeah, but they won that one, So.
I know. Knocked Tennessee out of a national championship game.
Oh, yeah, way back. Yep. That was my fault, Jimmy, because I got on the computer and I already booked my hotel. And
I remember you jinxing them. Yep.
Yeah, halftime.
Curiously, as reporters,
70,000 other Tennessee fans jinxed them.
Jimmy, Dave has, before I go to the Lane Kiffin quote, I just have to ask this now. Dave has talked about this for a while, but as a reporter, I know you don't root for a team, but come on, weren't you really hoping you'd have been in Pasadena covering the team that year instead of Orlando again?
It'd have been nice. So some people look at it, what's the best story? And God, what a heck of a story it was that Tennessee lost. But no, would I have liked to go to cover the national championship game against Miami in the Rose Bowl? Absolutely. Yeah, that would have been a fun trip.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, I'm not really happy about it either. All
right,
I got those refundable tickets. All right, Caleb, go ahead.
All right, here is Lane Kiffin, and here's what he said about the conference title. I'm going to pull it up and maximize it, and then we'll get to going. All right, here we go.
Just what the SEC change. Y'all have 2 losses already.
Ooh, it's a challenging question. I don't know. I guess I would say, it's changed. The conference championship, could have a big impact both ways for people. So I've talked to other coaches, so I'll just kind of give you the feeling from some other coaches that, they don't want to be in it. And, the risk to get a bye, the reward to get a bye, the risk to get knocked out completely I mean, that's a really big risk, just to get a bye. So I think it's ended up being a very unique situation of all, postseason sports.
Okay, but that's where I disagree with him at the end. I don't think it's going to be a unique situation. I think that we're going to be having a discussion about the SEC championship game and its relevance or lack thereof, as long as they've got the current setup.
Probably. Now, Kirby Smart wants to have an SEC championship. Okay. So he's made it clear he wants to play in that game and he wants to win it. Others, and I could see their point, would just as soon not play to risk being knocked out. But here again, we don't know if the committee is going to kick out the SEC championship game loser with 3 losses. Is it a risk? I think it is, but we don't know that yet. So if the committee does that, then Lane Kiffin's absolutely right. And so are the other coaches that shared their opinions with Lane Kiffin. They would be right. The other thing is, how valuable, if you're a coach, how valuable do you see that top seeding and a bye? Is it easier to win 3 playoff games instead of 4? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's that side of the argument too.
Well, what's lost in this too is with Nick Saban gone and Kirby Smart, who doesn't say a lot of anything, we're now in an era where Lane Kiffin is the voice of the SEC.
That's a scary thought.
But the difference is Lane Kiffin is going to be the most honest of any of the ones y'all said. Like,
yeah, yeah, that's true. He's going to say what's on his mind, even when he shouldn't.
Yeah. So
I get the feeling that Greg Sankey didn't like that comment one bit.
No, I agree with. Yeah, I bet you he did not, because he wants to still have value with the SEC championship and the championship game, and it's a huge moneymaker for the SEC. Also, they don't want to lose that game either, in part because of that. So they still want it to have value, and what Lane Kiffin said devalues it to a certain degree, right? So yeah, I'm sure Greg Sankey didn't like that at all.
No,
Jimmy, there's another factor to this that we're not even thinking about too. Now, this is what I talked about the whole year. That actually I never even considered the conference championship game punishing you. I said you wouldn't want to go anyway, and here's why. Forget the losing to knock you out. Say they are fair. Is it better to go to the SEC championship game, lose, and go to the college football playoff without the bye, or just not go to the SEC championship game and go to the college football playoff without the bye? Because then you get another week off, another week of rest. And I thought about this recently. We're talking about, okay, so think about this for a minute. You said 3 playoff games for 4 playoff games. Theoretically, it's still 4 playoff games for the team that gets the bye, because to get the bye, you have to win your conference championship. So honestly, if you know you're in, is there really any incentive to try to play that extra week of the SEC title game? Because you know you're going to play the extra week anyway. And so I just think that I think that the bye, the concept of a bye when you don't even get to play that first round game out the bye at home is very overrated to me.
Why?
Because, okay, go
ahead.
Okay, you say to get a bye, you have to win. To get a bye, you only have to win 3 games to win the national title, right?
Correct.
Well, theoretically, that's not true though, because you have to win 4, because you have to win the conference title to get the bye.
That's
so
true.
You still have to win 4, or you just don't play for the SEC title and you have to win 4 games to go win the national title. Either way, you really, in reality, have to win 4 games.
All right. If you gave me a choice of playing on December, I don't know, the 3rd, and then I don't have to play again for 3 or 4 weeks, isn't that better than having to play 4 games week after week after week after week?
Yes.
it's a pretty good argument.
Potentially. But what if I said your last game is on November the 26th and you don't have to play until December the 22nd, which I think that's the first round, right? December the 22nd?
December 20 and 21.
Okay. So November the 26th to December the 20th and 21st. And that first round game you play could be at home. And more importantly than this, because of how they do the seeding, that second round game you play could be against the 4th seeded team, which would be the Big 12 or ACC champion, which you guys, we both know right now, the Big 12 champion is below. Actually, Boise State would be the 4th seed right now. So you get to play at home as a 5 seed in the first round, and then you get to play Boise State in the second round. And if you're the 1 seed or the 2 seed, you're playing another really powerful SEC or Big Ten 7 or 8 seed in the second round. Guys, I'm taking the former. I know it's an extra game, but I'd rather miss the SEC title, which is a bye on its own, and then get to play BYU in the first round and Boise State in the second round, and one of those games is at home.
I understand that, but you're confining your argument to this year only. You don't know that that's going to be the case next year.
Well, we know that next year is going to be the last year of this playoff format because they had.
Yeah. So, do you think it's going to go to 14 or 16?
16.
I do too, and I hope it does.
Yeah.
Then we can get rid of the buys and everybody plays the first week.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with 12. I mean, I don't even know how that happened. I was an 8ist. I was an 8 guy. I thought that was enough, but they went right past 8 to 12, and it doesn't make any mathematical sense. I thought it was bizarre at the time, and now we're seeing that fruit be.
They wanted to put value on the conference title games, but inadvertently they devalued it. I think if you go to 16 and you say we won't hold conference championship week against teams, but say the team that wins their conference title gets an automatic home playoff game in the first round, I think then you could put some value on it. I think that's how you do it.
That's a good point. And I also think that if you're playing for a conference championship game and there's 16 teams, then you're going to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Exactly. You've added 4 more teams. So even with the third loss, you're going to make the playoff. With 12, it makes it more dicey.
They'll do some stupid auto bid where like 3 group of 5 teams get in.
Well, I want an extra auto bid though if they do that, because I don't want every 9-3 team in the SEC and Big Ten getting into the playoff. I just don't think that's good for the sport.
That's going to be the mega conference eventually.